Okay. Joe Rogan finally talking some sense. Let's look.
I like Joe Rogan, right? And so, as you all know, I mean, he went as low as one could go. He had on Donald Trump and basically gave him a hot stone massage and a happy ending. He had on JD Vance, same thing. He seemingly has a quota for bringing on billionaire robber baron oligarchs.
There it is, guys. Hold on, I gotta take my hit for robber baron. Anytime he says robber baron, we either take a shot, drink some tea, or we take a hit. Robber baron.
He seems to do it every other week or once every 3 weeks, whether it's Mark Zuckerberg or Mark Andreessen or Peter Thiel or Elon Musk all the fucking time, who he can't stop sucking off on a regular basis. And so the fact that he endorsed Trump, the fact that he let him get away with lying repeatedly to everybody's face, he really is in over his head, right? He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He doesn't know enough about these issues. And he just rode the wave. He rode the vibes. But found himself here now with everything going on in this country. He found himself in the position where he was cheerleading for a man who says, we're going to steal Greenland. Totally illegal, totally unconstitutional, total war crime. We're going to take Greenland. We have to have it. Greenland says no. It's only like 6% of people in Greenland that say, yeah, I want to be part of the U.S. Trump goes, I don't care. I want to take you. We're going to steal Panama. We're going to take Gaza and own Gaza. Oh, yeah, by the way, I ran a crypto scam on my own supporters 2 days before my inauguration. In inauguration, Joe Rogan was at to sit there with his fucking pom-poms for the bloated, beefy, wet boy buffoon. Okay? And so he finds himself here, and then now all of a sudden, what story is dominating the news in the country? Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Now, by the way, just so we're clear, Kilmar is one of 278 people illegally rounded up and kidnapped and human trafficked to a concentration camp in El Salvador. You know what you call a place where there's no due process, but you get sent there and it's a prison? That's called a concentration camp. So this is the biggest story in the country. And the Trump administration admitted in court, the DOJ admitted in court, yeah, we sent this guy in error. It was an administrative error. So that's the reason why Kilmar's story became the biggest. But understand, we still have the story of the gay makeup artist. We still have the story of the guy who was sent for his tattoo. His tattoo was an autism awareness tattoo for his 15-year-old brother who has autism, who he helps take care of. So,
my bad, Mintesh. I was just able to update based on your gifted memberships. Thanks for that again.
There are 278 Kilmar Abrego Garcias, right? That's what it is.
I just, so I'm not sure if you guys know who Ben Reilly is in the Spider-Man comics. He's a reporter. Well, so in the Ultimate Spider-Man, this does play into this. They just had a arc where Uncle Ben is still alive, and he's using the moniker Ben Reilly to write his stories, and he's publishing them anonymously. So the Kingpin, he writes one about the Kingpin, and the Kingpin is part of a new world order that is legit, just out in the open. Everyone knows just what's going on. It's like literally the worst version of what the superhero world could become. But he comes up to Ben Reilly, or to Uncle Ben, and he's just like, yeah, so those stories you wrote, well, the punishment had to be I took care of every Ben Reilly in the city. And he's just all right. He guessed. He's like, yeah, you took care of every Ben Reilly in the city, you sociopath. He's like, no, I took care of every Ben Reilly in the world.
75 to 90% of these people have no criminal
That does play into what it's like. If they could, they would.
record. None. Zip. Zero. Zilch. So now he's in a bit of a pickle. Because the Vibes man was riding the vibes when it was all Trump all day long. Trump,
By the way, that arc is actually really interesting to read. I definitely recommend it if you're even passively into comic books.
Trump, bro. Oh, look, bro, he's like a comedian, bro. Oh, look, he owns the mainstream media, bro. He's got good timing in his jokes, bro. He's genuine.
Surely that Nigerian prince will pay me back.
He's funny, bro. Look at how he goes after people, bro. The Vibes.
I know at least 2 people who have lost their jobs because of Trump. Yeah, I also know somebody who lost their 401k, and they are in retirement age. So
high on the pro-Trump side, and he was like, fuck it, I'm gonna ride that wave, bitch.
Well, I'll be fair. It's like close to 40%.
Well, what do you do when the vibes have shifted? What do you do? When it becomes clear these people are monstrous and they are unambiguous fascists. What do you do? And it's an unambiguous robber baron coup with all the illegal...
Damn it! Stop it! I'm gonna get too high because of Kyle here. Man.
things Elon Musk is doing, like slashing pediatric cancer research, which again is something
You should have to take a vape every time that he says it too.
Rogan has never brought up on his fucking show. He likes to talk about, Elon is such a genius, my puny brain is nothing compared to him. But you didn't happen to see when he slashed pediatric cancer research? You didn't happen to see when
Are you making handmade pasta?
legally slashed Meals on Wheels?
If you are.
Got nothing to say
Good for
about
you.
that, right? But here we go. So this story is clearly in Rogan's mind, the Kilmar Abrego Garcia story, and the sending people without due process. And finally, he finds his balls to somewhat criticize Trump. I say somewhat because, weird, in this clip, Trump's name doesn't come up. Huh. This is the Rand Paul trick.
Un poquito cojones.
Right? I disagree with tariffs. Tariffs are really bad, and I really don't like tariffs, and we need to make sure we don't do tariffs. He has this whole thing, I'm against tariffs, I'm against the tariffs, I'm against the tariffs. And in that same rant, he says, and Trump has done a brilliant job with handling this other thing. So you are going to clearly take aim at the man and bring up how his tariff war is the fucking stupidest thing you've ever
Butternut squash pasta with marinara. I think, nice.
seen, which you're correct about. But you don't even have it in you to say, this is on President Trump and he's failing and he's crashing the global economy. It's on him. And I'm criticizing him. They don't have it in them because even when they do the criticism, they gotta couch it, right? They gotta wrap some pillows around their body so that they
My pillows. They're using my
soften the blow.
pillows.
'Cause, you know, you're basically dealing with a fucking child here mentally.
Did you know that I have nothing to do with the My Pillow guy? Just because we're from Minnesota doesn't mean that we sound exactly the same.
And so he doesn't mention Trump, but he's talking here about Kilmar Abrego
I'm Jesse Ventura.
Garcia. Let's see. At least he
That was actually
somewhat
the worst
found
one
his
I've
balls.
done.
Sure. The balls are the size of Tic Tacs, but he found them. Here we go.
About due process. No, fuck that. But here's the problem with fuck that. The problem with things that are going in a radical direction, and then there's an overcorrection. So the overcorrection is lack of due process.
I love that. So it's somehow
Really?
the fault of the liberals and the leftists that Trump is doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the overcorrection.
Cool.
The
God.
liberals and the leftists were so
I hate the
extreme
fact that he does this with. Look at that look in his face. He thinks he's so fucking profoundly smart when he found this, figured this out. He really does.
on this.
Like,
They
guys.
wanted what? Extra due process?
The overcorrection is like round them all up, ship them to jail. Like that's like some things that you say when you're not thinking things through. Like, what do you do about all the criminals? Take them all, fucking send them to El Salvador.
Yeah.
What
That's like say that again slower, Joe. That's like something you do when you're not thinking of.
about due process? No, fuck that.
Oh.
Well, here's the problem with fuck that. What if you
What?
are an enemy of, let's not say any current president. Let's pretend we got a new president, totally new guy in 2028. And this is a common practice now of just rounding up gang members with no due process and shipping them to El Salvador. You're a gang member.
Oh, by the way, guys, if you haven't already, liked the stream and also hit that share button. I really appreciate it.
No, I'm not. Prove it. What? I want to go to
out.
court. No,
Yeah,
no
it's
due
free.
process.
That's
Right?
dangerous, Joe.
That's
dangerous.
dangerous. That's dangerous.
I
That's
also hope you're enjoying the content, guys.
dangerous. We got to be careful that we don't become monsters while we're fighting monsters.
But also, they are not monsters. That's the whole point. 75 to 90% of them have no criminal record whatsoever. But I love how, look, I don't want to be too hard on him in this instance, but it's like he's stumbling across the ideals of the Enlightenment and the Magna Carta in the year 2025 when he supported the guy who's destroying the Magna Carta. That was written in the year 1215.
Yeah, Rogan.
He's like, bro, I've been thinking about this, and it turns out, like, the ideas from 1215 were kind of good. The Enlightenment was kind of good. The giving people
Breaking news: Trump administration about to start garnishing the wages of student loan borrowers who are late on their payments.
human rights and due process is like kind of good. Oh, really? Maybe you should have thought of that before you endorsed the guy who was openly broadcasting that he was going to try to deport legal immigrants, which is what he said he would do. Remember, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. That was a lie, and the whole point of that was to take these people who had legal status and try to ship them out of the country.
I think due process exists for a reason, and the reason is it is horrific for someone to be accused of something they didn't do, be imprisoned for crimes they didn't commit, and then live in a cell, live in a cage with a bunch of
People who did commit shit.
Here it is, Benjamin Franklin. It's better 100 guilty persons should escape than one innocent person should suffer. That is wisdom that has survived hundreds of years. It's incredibly accurate.
It survived
Well,
100 years, and then what happened?
Yeah, it's
Joe?
about to be fucking
happened after
buried
those
with the
hundreds of
rest of the Declaration of Independence
years. It survived hundreds of years, and then somehow it
and the Magna Carta and our Constitution. They're just gonna put all of them into a bin and just be like, you know what? We called it a dumpster fire. We might as well just light one.
I mean, it went away somehow, kind of. Maybe because it's the guy I directly supported and even took credit for helping him win because I endorsed him. It's crazy that this thing is going away and that I supported the guy who's getting rid of it.
And it is the foundation of freedom. Like, we have to make sure that these people are actually guilty, otherwise we become monsters. You can't, like, what is that? When you fight monsters, be careful that you don't become one.
Become one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very important. It's very important.
I love the idea that, like, bro, I didn't know that Trump was a monster. Oh, you didn't? How close were you paying attention to the man? Bro, can you believe this? Trump's turning into a monster, bro. Fucking a decade in.
Yeah, notice how he's not saying it, though. And again, if this is him speaking truth to power, then I don't know, maybe mention the power?
His horrific reign in American politics.
Joe.
You know, you can't do that. You know, it's one of those things where to support one side of this, you have to deny some, like, basic human values. Either way. Like, to support just rounding people up and just
He
assuming
makes me ashamed of being a pothead sometimes. He
they're all
really
gang
does.
members. I'm not saying they're doing that, but this is the worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
They are. I'm not saying
He just said, I don't think
they're doing that. They 100% are
they
doing
are, though.
They get a
That's
bunch
the
of
whole
people in a
problem,
room,
dude.
they rope them all in, and one guy's just someone's cousin picking someone up to give him a ride home. That's possible.
And now you're back on the one innocent person. Now you're right back.
And what if
with
that dude is not doing anything wrong and he's got some stupid tattoos and they decide that this guy's a gang member, and now you're in a prison in El Salvador and you're not even from El Salvador, and now you were just a hairdresser or you were a tattoo artist or
Family
whatever
man,
you are.
yeah.
And you came over here and maybe you got a green card and maybe you don't. Maybe you were just given asylum because a lot of people from Venezuela were given asylum in America.
Yeah.
And then you get shipped to El Salvador where you're not even from El Salvador. So that the fact that
Yeah, because it's also some racist bullshit where we're just like, brown country, we sounded to, we'll tell the Browns go to brown country.
exists scares the shit out of me.
What Joe Rogan needs to
Come
do,
on.
if he actually wants
Quit kids gloving this, guys.
to gain back people's respect, who he fucking lost so miserably and horrifically and
Kyle, he's not going to be your friend again. Stop it.
stupidly.
Fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Though that's the one part that sucks is watching you lament the fact, oh, he used to be so cool, guys. I wish he'd just go back to being cool, guys.
To do is come out and say, I was wrong.
Huh? What's that voice he does? Huh? Huh? Hey, Kyle? I thought Joe was so cool.
I was wrong. Supporting this guy
He's not so
was wrong.
cool.
Doing an interview with him where he spewed his bullshit for fucking 3 hours straight,
Yeah, Kyle's fishing.
and I sat
Yeah,
there
he
like a
is.
little schoolboy, not pushing back at all.
No, like, I'll be honest, like, it is kind of entertaining to watch and now call out where it is like, Kyle, I love your content. I really do. And I love his coverage. But this shit, it is kind of just like, he's not going to have you back on it, bro. Like, because he keeps kind of also doing like that little thing where you're just like, if he would just have, more sensible people on. But then he was just like, but, I got invited on and I didn't want to travel. So, like, pick a lane.
That was wrong.
Fucking pick a
It
lane.
was wrong to endorse him. And what he's
Jesus.
doing right now is destroying the Constitution, destroying the laws of this country, violating international law, sending innocent people to a slave labor concentration camp torture dungeon in El Salvador, and that all needs to stop. And he should directly appeal to them. Come out, apologize, say you were fucking wrong, and then also, you're buddy with these people. You talk to Elon on a regular basis. You should be texting Elon telling him, you gotta get these people back.
This is the stuff. This is the stuff that I can't fucking stand. I can't fucking stand when people are just like, yeah, I haven't figured out exactly how you should think and how you should be doing these things. And if you don't do these things, then you know what? Fuck you.
You should be
That?
texting Trump. You should be calling
Sorry,
Don
man.
Jr. and
No.
the president himself. and
No, that's what, God, who was it recently that had, Bill Maher. It was Bill Maher. Like, even with me being like, no, because, like, I've always been in the, screw Bill Maher camp. Like, he was always a smug asshole. But the people that, like, this was the bridge too far, I'm like, really?
and saying, hey, man, this looks bad. You should bring back the innocent people that you sent there.
But also the people that are just like, well, I'm disappointed that Bill Maher didn't use his platform to say blah, blah, blah to Trump about this.
This is a rampant violation
Come
of due
on.
process in the Constitution. He is now in the club with them. You need to understand that. He was talking about going to Mar-a-Lago to do podcasts with Trump. He's in constant contact with these people.
I don't know. He's not Crystal.
He's in the inner circle. If you are somebody in the inner circle and you see this clearly for what it is, there is zero excuse to not do anything and everything in your power to make clear.
Yeah. Bill does a show in
This
front
is
of a paid
wrong.
audience. Yeah.
This is evil. you have to stop, and I'm going to publicly go out there and denounce it. And I'm going to plead to you to do the right thing. Because also, he's got an army of people who fucking listen to him, who think he's the coolest, most reasonable guy in the world. Okay, well, prove that. Prove that. This isn't something you could just overlook, right? Or like mildly criticize. What we're talking about here is the end of the United States of America. That's what we're talking about. And that's to say nothing of the end of our economy as well, which the whole tariff bullshit gets us down that path. But
again, everybody's still talking, like, nobody's bringing up the fact that our fucking bonds and our debt are, like, dude, China kind of did this, like, little sneaky, like, if they keep playing games, we'll call in the debt. Nobody fucking covered it. Nobody.
To not draw a bright red line
Like,
here and say, I'm not fucking associating with these people anymore. Right?
And then I have to hear the Democrats, they skyrocketed the debt. This is why we have to do the Doge thing.
I mean, that would say it all, wouldn't it?
And somehow people are like,
so,
yeah.
He should be more clear. He should be more direct. He should be directly calling out Trump. He should be reaching out to them behind the scenes. And he should be saying what's happening here is horrific. And you need to bring them back. And you need to do it ASAP. You should be talking to Trump directly and saying, you know, Stephen Miller lied, right? When he said the Supreme Court voted 9-0 in your favor, that you can keep sending these people illegally to a concentration camp. You know he lied. You know it was actually 9-0 in the other direction, right? You know what they said is you need to facilitate this guy's return, right?
Thank you.
You need to bring this guy back. Or you're flagrantly violating an order of the Constitution. And by the way, it's the most obviously correct order of the order of the Supreme Court that I've ever seen.
Well, that's also like one of the only unilateral fucking decisions they've ever made.
It's a start. This is a start, but he's got a long, long way to go, homie. Like I said, he may have found his balls,
lifetime.
But in the moment, those balls are the size of fucking Tic Tacs. That's what they are, right? What are you going to do? When Trump decides to invade Greenland and Panama and seize Gaza and illegally take it and finish the ethnic cleansing and the genocide, are you also going to do a podcast? You know, I mildly disagree with this. I don't think this is a good
Yeah. Yeah, more than likely, if he even talks about it at all. The thing is, why do you care?
idea, but I'm still going to go hang out at Mar-a-Lago and play footsie with these idiots.
Why do you care?
You tell me, right? So there you have it. But, final point. Remember, we've been talking about vibes, how this is the vibes guy. The reason why he's reacting like this is because he is a wave rider. He is a vibes guy. The vibes in the culture were very pro-Trump.
We call those surfers.
In the podcast sphere, in the MMA sphere, in the comedian sphere, he's surrounded by pro-Trump shit 24/7. Well, now, the vibes have shifted so immensely that he feels like, well, the vibes are basically coming out and saying, this is crazy, the end of due process. So now you have the left and liberals winning the vibe war, which is why he is where he is. So keep
that's what he did before.
it up. The vibes need to be so overwhelming, so gargantuan, so tremendous that he feels like, no, I do want to call Trump directly and say, you got to bring him back. I do want to publicly come out here and apologize for backing this man and saying, I was fucking wrong. Kamala Harris would have been 1,000 times better than this man.
Which anybody that's mad over the Silver Surfer right now doesn't understand comics.
Right? So the vibes are what matter here. And he's in the same
You need to look up the character Ty Laval.
way he rode the Trump wave and the
I think her
Trump
name's Tyler.
vibes. Now he sees, oh shit, the vibes are 80-20 against these monsters destroying due process. So he's starting to hop on that wave. Well, he should stay on that, and he should make clear, no, this is a bridge too far, bro. I'm done. But it's massive credit to everybody who's protesting out there in the streets with the hands-off protest. It's massive credit to the courts, which are doing the right thing over and over and over. It's massive credit to all the noise that's being made about this on social media.
Did he
media
cover
and
the
elsewhere.
was it the Joe Rogan video that was
That
more
the
important?
vibes man himself knows
gonna
the
take a
vibes
look.
have shifted, and that's why he's saying what he's saying. Hey, y'all, do me a favor
I had
and
an
like
action figure with the board that wound up. Me too.
and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for
No, I've always liked the Silver Surfer. He's always been one of the cooler aspects. I mean, honestly, one of the best comic arcs in history is because of him and Galactus. And again, the Fantastic Four, they've always been one of the more underrated teams. And people are just like, they're so lame. I'm like, no, it's because you don't understand, apparently, like, interesting family dynamics. Yes, they can get a little stale sometimes. And once you get away from, guys like Doctor Doom, they get a little less interesting, but fire in that bowl. Give me a minute. I'm going to get to the 820 here. We're actually coming up to the 420 mark here in 23 minutes. So Here, we're going to watch one more Kyle Kalinske video, and we're gonna get to that fun half here. And I got a Ethan Klein rap like situational video that explains his crash out, and then we have a Cenk Uygur debates Sabby Sabs, who, if you don't already know who she is, she makes really good content. So here, actually, you know what? I'll wait and share her video when we're watching it. Like a smart person. I just realized I was not subscribed to her either. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. You want to help out those, larger and smaller YouTubers like it. Guys, again, I'm going to reiterate, if you enjoy the content here, anywhere, hit that like button. It helps so fucking much. This is not Facebook. It's not going to really mess with your algorithm all that much. It's going to help ours. So, all right, here we go.
So, Kyle and friends, we had on Ben Norton from Geopolitical Economy Report. Highly recommend you guys go watch that full interview. You could sign up on Substack to see the full interview, because Ben really broke it down for us, man. We went deep on the tariffs and the trade war and the motivations and what's going to happen. And basically, to sum it up, it's already over.
Not gonna lie,
China already won.
Silver Surfer was more of a Lego figure to me than anything.
They're playing. I mean, they have quad aces.
That happens,
right? And we have fucking
God. You guys should have seen the disappointment that was my nephew when I told him that he's like, have you played Minecraft? I'm like, no.
10 high. Like, we don't even have a small
He was
pair,
pretty
homie.
mad.
Like, we are just so cooked. And so he lays that out in no uncertain terms. But today, we have economist Jeffrey Sachs, not to be confused with, what's the other guy, Sachs? David Sachs? There's some other Sachs
Well, then if you can't even think of the guy, then you're not going to mix them up. So stop.
guy who I call Ball Sachs because he's just a fucking
Ball Sachs.
total dweeb
Never mind, that's
asshole.
pretty funny.
Total Trump sycophant and cuck. But anyway, this guy's not him. This guy's
To be fair, it is Minecraft.
is reasonable. And
you
so this
start
guy's
with
an
me.
economist. He's going to lay out for us. Basically, he's going to
You and my 7-year-old nephew are.
explain in his own words how, just like Ben Norton said, it's over. The trade war's over in the sense that we're not playing a winning hand. The U.S. is done. There's no maneuver.
Yeah, and they still, like, this is why CNN is kind of scared to report it the way that it actually is, where it's like, guys, we fucking lost. And it's been like, again, 2 weeks that they knew that we lost.
He can make no highfalutin way to get rid of the rough edges
No.
and make everything better. Like, no, there's no winning this, and we're
No.
already in too deep, and there are going to be horrific consequences. Ready? Here we go.
If you take your credit card and you go shopping and you run up a large credit card debt, you're running a trade deficit with all those shops. Now, it would be pretty strange if you then blamed all the shop owners for having sold you all those things. You're ripping me off. You're ripping me off. You're ripping me off. I'm running a trade deficit. That's
essentially what we are doing, and nobody is explaining that very clearly to the people who love this fucking orange idiot and everything that he's doing. And they literally regurgitate it like they are like baby birds just go, yeah.
level of understanding of the President of the United States.
And they're, yes,
The trade
yes, give that
deficit
to me so I can go chirp, chirp, chirp away at the libs.
Does not represent at all trade policies.
No.
It represents spending relative to production or earnings.
Yes.
We call that an identity. I teach it in the second day of my course in international monetary economics. Trump never made it to the second day.
Yep. That's another thing. He's one of those fucking Elons of the world that says that they have all these accreditations, and dude, he paid for a fucking college degree. My God. I'm so sick of this is what really gets me. The idiots that are that love this man, that love Trump so much that honest to God believe that he is some way for them. There's a part of me that feels sorry, but I am genuinely angry at those people that's like, wow, your brain at some point just said, nope, I'm going to totally give up.
U.S. government spends about $2
Think
trillion
for me, please, Trump daddy, please.
a year more than it takes in revenues. What it's doing is making transfers to the American people and to American businesses. it doesn't tax Americans for those transfers because, here's another little fact, because the congressmen that vote on the budget got into office by being paid for their campaigns by rich people who don't like taxes. So the political system says spend, but don't tax us. So we run a chronic deficit in the United
US.
States.
Yes.
That spending goes out.
Yes, and if they just paid the taxes that they owed instead of fucking hiding their money all the time and then doing it again through, we need more tax cuts, we need more tax cuts, otherwise we're gonna leave the country, we're gonna leave the country. You know what could also like really benefit us? If our fucking trading partners locked these dumbasses out and said, nah, you know what? No.
Either as transfer payments or goods and services.
I don't know, do a little bit of that tit for tat thing. Just I understand that those juicy dollars that they're bringing in are like so tasty, but how tasty would it be to see a fucking smug prick like Trump and Pete Hegseth or any of these idiots not be able to hide their money and actually pay their fucking taxes? Ooh.
And that's more than our national income, which is about $30 trillion, and our spending is about $31 trillion. And that's our trade deficit. And for that, Donald Trump blames the world. Okay, I fail him for this if he were my student. He's my president. It's a little weirder, because when he did this, in 2 days, the world lost $10 trillion of market capitalization. By the way, where did it go? Did it get transferred from here to here? No.
No, it got destroyed.
It got destroyed.
Yeah.
Why destroyed? Because trade, something also the President of the United States doesn't understand, is mutually beneficial. So if you stop trade, everybody loses. It's not that one side wins.
You know, in school, sometimes you sit there and think, I'm surrounded by idiots. Yeah, high school never ends, and apparently some of those dumbasses never grow out of it. Yep.
The other side loses.
Yeah, they just get louder and they somehow come to power.
He cannot understand that concept as a guy that traded real estate in New York. So his idea is somebody had to win, somebody had to lose.
Hell, one of the dumbest people one of my friends went to high school with is in our state. He's a state representative.
But what happened when he
It's so wild that happened.
made this announcement was $10 trillion was wiped out worldwide. It's not that the U.S. went up and they went down. No, everybody went down.
Everybody went down.
Because the whole world system is based on a division of labor.
Thank you.
And
Oh my God, I didn't even
He's
go to
breaking
college and I knew this.
that division of labor into pieces. So
Maybe college is a little overpriced.
then people said, this doesn't make sense. Even the very rich people
Overrated.
that
Sorry.
gave him the money for
literally
him to
got
get
that
into
wrong.
office started saying this doesn't make sense. The hedge
Well, that
fund
too.
managers who were his big campaign contributors, Elon Musk, who paid for his election, became prime minister. He said this doesn't make sense.
How many of you guys got student debt?
And then the markets said this doesn't make sense. Not only $10 trillion, but as the finance minister said, interest rates started to rise because people began to dump U.S. Treasury
I hate when people think that supply and demand is the only thing that defines prices. Again,
debt. It's not
like the fact that this can literally be explained by a hairstylist that it's just like, do you know how to cut hair? Are you going to cut your own hair? No. Okay. Well, then you pay me and I give you my skills.
quite true that he
But then again, there's nothing more American right now than watching a YouTube video and going, you know what? I'm going to save some money. I'm going to do this myself.
reversed things. First, he left on this 10%
It's
tariff,
it's a thing.
except
Trust
for one
me.
country,
I have done it.
or
You know
China,
what?
140.
I have learned I'm not a pool guy.
where he
on some
raised
products.
the tariff rate.
I have learned I'm not a painter.
That's because the United States
I also learned that as fun as the power sprayer is, that siding does dent.
has a deep neurotic attachment to China.
I
The
learned
U.S.
that one the hard
political
way.
system hates China. Why? Because China's big and successful.
Any subliminal messaging is working. Well, it's not even subliminal messaging. It's the fact that he's been so consistent in his messaging that it's just catching on to people that they heard it before and they're just like, you know what? You know who made sense? That Bernie fella.
U.S. hates. It's a rival, it's a competitor, and so this is the one thing he left on. Now, he's going to mess up everything with this, too, because in a trade war between the U.S. and China, China wins. China does not depend on the U.S. market very much.
Yeah, see, in my case, that would be a different story.
It's about 12% of China's exports. China will do just fine. It's just dumb policy.
One time, a couple of dudes used the naivete of one of our nicest teachers to make an entire presentation on the various career paths of Johnny Sins. I think back to that, and these guys can vote. Great.
There's no more, sorry to say it, there's just no more explanation to this.
Every time that I see a Trump sign or a Trump flag, I always think to myself, that person's vote counts as much as mine.
Than that. It makes no sense. We are in one-person rule in the United States. Our political system is in a state of collapse.
Thank you.
What President Trump did is an emergency decree. Everything he does is an emergency.
Yeah, this guy choose like he's literally raising the alarms, and this guy, you know what? Now's the time. Now's the time to check that phone.
Decree. Literally, you can go on to whitehouse.gov and then follow the menu to executive decrees. And there are dozens of them. And each one starts the same way. With the powers invested in me as President of the United States, I hereby declare A, nonsense, B, nonsense, C, nonsense.
No, he used the emergency D word, yeah.
Those powers are not invested in the President of the United States. They're invested in the Congress. You read Article 1, Section 8 of our...
It's so weird when you fucking listen to somebody that's educated.
Our Constitution, it says that all...
This is why... And I know, hot take. This is why they want the fucking they want to defund the Department of Education. Like, God, the fact that Alex Jones was right the entire time, he was just wrong about the fucking person that was going to do it.
Duties originate with...
And I bet he didn't even see this one coming, that he, at this time, would be cheering it on.
The Congress. And
I would love to, like, actually talk to Alex Jones. Like, I would love to interview him and just be like, hey, man, so I was an old listener, and I can, I have some receipts for you from, 2006 to 2012 where, man, you were saying some things that were kind of crazy, like about shipping out of, like the illegals, but they were also going to start shipping out American citizens, and they were going to do it under the auspices of, trying to protect our country from illegal immigrants. Or at that time, I think you were still a little poised towards the Muslim community. So, but for real. Dude, he was talking about how they were going to ship out American citizens. He was talking about how they were going to supersede the Congress. And he was talking about all of these things, about creating a new world order, and here it fucking is. And then he's just okay with it, and he's just like, it's really funny? It's really funny? I've gotten so brain broken that I just love... I'm one of those guys that, they came for me. They had a lawsuit and everything, but I hate the libs so much that I'm just going to cheer on the death of my country because...
Specifically, in the lower house, all legislation has to start in the House of Representatives.
He made such a big deal of going to that secret camp where they do all the pagan rituals. I bet he actually got an invite, and that's when he just kind of stopped.
Representatives.
He just wanted to be one of them. He hates us because he ain't us.
But the U.S., starting in 1945 after World War II...
Someone in my life tried to tell me that because, like, I was kind of bitching about, like, Rolexes and just, like, the golfers of the world. And he was like, oh, yeah, you use golf for networking.
Military state to a large...
Or you use it because it's, I guess, a fun game to play. I mean...
extent. And so it's sprinkled in its legislation, emergency. And Trump doesn't have to prove anything's an emergency. He just has to say something's an emergency. So suddenly the trade deficit became an emergency. And on that basis, he issues a one-person rule. Even his aides don't know what he's doing.
Damn. The most important part of that was when he said, China wins. They're fine. Only 12% of Chinese exports come to the U.S.? Only 12%? The idea that they can't pick up the slack there, the idea that they can't, hey, we'll sell more to Vietnam, we'll sell more to India, we'll sell more to...
Project 2025 was essentially like written by his mentor, Cohen.
The EU. They can sell more domestically.
Robert Cohen, yeah.
Right? They have over 1 billion people. The idea that they can't make up for those lost exports to the U.S., that's absurd. Of course they can. Now, on the flip side, we can't make up for the lack of consumption, right? For the fewer goods that come in this country, that will come in this country, the higher prices. And it's not like you could just snap your fingers and all of a sudden, okay, we were importing a lot from China, now we'll import a lot from India, or we'll import a lot from Vietnam. You're not going to be able to make up that gap for how many Chinese products come into this country. And to the notion that Trump says, well, we're just going to do the manufacturing here. There are so many things we literally just can't manufacture here, right? Like coffee is a great example. You can't really grow coffee in the U.S. Why would you slap a tariff on coffee? We don't have a domestic, we got
Hawaii.
making
We'll use Hawaii.
industry.
I heard they're tropical.
Which we're trying to give an advantage to.
I saw bananas in Florida once.
And then on top of that, Trump pretends like this is going to bring back manufacturing. It's not going to bring back manufacturing at all. In fact, the opposite is happening. Now you have all these factories that were going to be built here. He froze the funding for them. The CHIPS Act, which Biden did, that was going to create 115,000 high-paying manufacturing jobs. Trump froze the funding on that.
This whole concept of every accusation is a confession has been accusing for a law. Yeah, well, that's the thing. But it is so true, though. Like, we constantly do that. The thing that we're really bad at, and I'm part of this too, like I'm contributing even just by like doing what I'm doing here and watching even Kyle, is the fact that we're always on the back foot and we're always just going like, oh, Shark Pikachu face, they did something again. What?
Never mind other factories.
At least I have the like wherewithal to just be like, they did it again. I kind of called that.
That are closing down.
It's the fucking people that are like kind of schmucky about it, like the Midas touch, I hate to say, where, dude, they are so clickbaity with it, but at the same time, it's like feigning like this, oh my God, did you see? I do declare, did you see what Donald Trump did today?
We're going to open up, and now they said, we can't afford to build the factory anymore because the raw material that we used to build the factory now just got hit with massive tariffs, and now we can't afford it. Right? So everything he claims is going to happen that's good about this is 100% not going to happen, and we already know that.
I thought growing up was cool, but then now I just want to sleep all the time.
Right? We already know that.
I like sleep.
So, and now the crazy thing is there's no way out.
6
Even
minutes.
if Trump fully
5
reverses
minutes.
on everything, right? On everything. The damage is already done. The world doesn't trust us. Nope. We're not good to our word. We don't abide by our deals. They know Trump could wake up tomorrow in a different mood and flip again. Right? So what's going to happen is
also why the
you're going
bond
to have
market
Canada,
is
you're going to have Mexico,
tanking.
You're going to have the EU, you're going to have China, you're going to have all these countries decide we're sort of done with America. Yeah. We're going to reduce reliance on them, and we're going to make deals with each other, and we're going to, basically cut America out.
One of the most terrifying things that happened is the fact that they just had a World Financial meeting without us.
They're not a reliable partner. They're just not. Again, the dollar is the world reserve currency.
If he wants to isolate us,
it's already
fine,
being dumped as we speak, but as the world reserve currency.
This is my favorite part. He's doing this to try and have a legacy of being like the fucking the president who changed the entire country. He wants to be the next FDR, guys. I want to be more famous than FDR. I want to be the president of the United States, the forever president. You know, the one.
See,
when they always talk about dear leader.
No,
I love how they talk about Kim Jong-un.
We're going to be off it soon enough. Right? We're going to be off it soon enough.
Kim Jong-il.
And when that happens, again, this country is...
It's officially been long enough where he's been in power, where he's the first one I say now. I used to say Kim Jong-il all the time.
It's a total house of cards, and it's going to collapse. It's a total tinderbox, and it will be set off.
I heard the value of Bitcoin and literal gold have gone up.
Fire.
Bitcoin took a pretty big hit today again.
Just understand
again,
that, man.
With the destabilization of the normal markets, like... Everybody is kind of coming to terms with the fact, like, what are we going to do with this?
Understand that. Hey, y'all, do me...
It's coming back to the original arguments that were always there, where it's just like, at the end of the day, what are you trading for? I've always loved that aspect of crypto, where it's just like, oh, well, we can like buy stuff now, and like it's made its way into the real world. You kind of, it's like, okay, and then when it shows that it has absolutely no utility except for the fact that you guys just arbitrarily decided, there's only so much of these, we should definitely skyrocket the cost. Like, whereas gold, at least I can see the merit in that one. 6 to 7% inflation. Good luck, y'all. Yeah, exactly. If you guys enjoyed this content, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out in the algorithm. And also, check out my live streams weekdays from Monday through Friday and special Saturday streams. I really appreciate you guys checking out the content, and I'll see you in the next one.